Taking Off the Mask podcast. My name is Ashanti Branch, and I'm really glad you've joined us. Today's guest is me. So I got some announcements for you, and then I got some really exciting that I want to share with you for this episode today. A couple of announcements. You've been hearing from Mohandas over the last couple of weeks and months. He's one of our youth facilitators, our youth voices. And Mohandas is a senior in high school right now, and he is going to be passing the torch on to one of our other young men who you'll meet really soon. So stay tuned for hearing from some other young men voices who are going to be talking to their peers and learning about them through the conversations of Taking Off the Mask and the adventure game. For those of you that are here in the Bay Area, 11/11/22, November 11th, 2022, we're having a live event here in Oakland, and it will be about amplifying, bringing awareness, and a call to action for the Million Mask movement. The movement is growing. Our team is growing. And with that, we are excited to share some of the work with the world and share some food and some fun and some evening. It's going to be from 3 o'clock to 7 p.m. So it'll be in the early end of the afternoon and the later end of the afternoon and the early end of the evening. So you still got the rest of your night available. So if you are here in the Bay Area, we invite you to come. We have space for about 200 we're planning for. So please, we'll be having tickets available pretty soon for that. So it's a free event, but we also are a nonprofit. So, we are asking people to contribute. And so if you're not able to come and you still want to support, we invite you to do that as we open that up. Two more announcements. The 100 Schools Challenge is live. So if your school, if you are a teacher, counselor, educator, administrator, and you want your school to participate in the 100 in the Million Mask movement, there are 100 slots for schools to receive a free training. After our big event on 11/11, that training will no longer be free. So this is the last time, and we've given this out just so you can get context. We've given this workout to over 600 teachers. The training overview guides, over 600. This next 100 is the last 100 that we are in this current phase of our work that we're giving away for free. And so we invite you to get your school signed up. If you're a parent and you think your child's school needs to know about this, please have them go to our website, everforwardclub.org, and there'll be a pop-up there. And if you don't see the pop-up, you can go to participate, and you'll see 100 Schools Challenge. Okay. And last but not least, is that the last announcement? I think it's the last announcement. So, yeah, well, if there's not the last one, it's the last one for this episode. So thank you for being here. If you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, please do that. And if you haven't made a comment, we invite you to rate the podcast, make a comment. It really helps other people find the podcast like you have. And we really appreciate you all for being here with us. Today's episode, I have been deciding about a lot of videos that I've held on to for so long. And some of you know when I showed the video about Sticks and Stones and the situation in the parking lot, that was about a year after it happened when I released that episode. And this video that I'm going to share with you today is probably about a year old as well. I went to a men's retreat by an organization called Sacred Sons. It was called Convergence. It was in the Oregon mountains. It's on the coast. It's like where the ocean meets the mountains. It was like right on the coast. A beautiful camp there. And I've done many of these workshops and many of these retreats. And this one was one that had really opened a space in my soul. Like, let me try and describe it. Let me say soul. Some people are like, soul, what the heck is this? I don't like the rain. I know the earth needs the rain. I know rain is important for our planet, but I just don't like rain. I prefer it to rain when I'm in the house sleeping. And then when I get up, I just wanted to be able to move without rain. But uh, the first day of the experience, it was raining and we were in a big circle. I don't know how many hundred men, maybe 300 men. And literally, it did not stop dumping. Like, I like when I tell you I don't like rain, like the jacket I had, I thought was waterproof, but it was more like a sponge. And I kept wondering, why are my shoulders starting to feel a little bit strange here? Like, what am I feeling on my shoulder? Why am I feeling like coldness hitting my shoulders? And then I realized that this jacket on the outside was not waterproof. It was not even water resistant. It was like water come to me. That's the material it was made of. Water come to me. And literally I'm like, oh my God. So I had to like look in my pockets. I had everything in my pockets was wet. That's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, I'm telling you this to say, like I was in this mood, right? Like if you're a person who doesn't like hot or doesn't like cold or doesn't like whatever the thing that you have a adversity to, like you know the feeling, right? But I was like, so I'm like, now I'm gonna figure out how I'm gonna get dry. Like I'm in the mountains, we're camping out, in cabins, so there's not like there's no dryers, and this is the only jacket I got, and I'm soaking wet underneath the jacket. So I'm painting the picture for you. Um, because what you're going to hear in this video that I make next, that I made, there was an experience at this weekend. There was an experience called the death ceremony, and I had already just maybe earlier that year, the year before, lost my grandmother, and so still not having fully dealt with the grief of that. I had like work was just busy and intense, but I was doing my thing. We just keep going. We got a lot to do and ever forward, right? So I'm moving forward. Um, and so in this moment of being super wet and figuring out what I'm gonna do, and then they were like, "Oh, down the hill here is this little death ceremony," and I was like, "Man, I'm not going down that hill." Like that's what I was saying to myself in the moment. Now this is the first day, so I'm on my head. I carry a lot of stuff in my own mind. And the second day, when I decided to go down to the ocean, the rain stopped, thank goodness, and the sun came out, and my stuff started drying out a little bit. I happened to be going down to the ocean. I was going to go decide whether I was going to jump in the ocean or not. And as I passed by the ceremony, that's where the video you're going to see takes off. And originally, when I was saying, "Man, I'm not doing that," it was more I was in the moment, the emotion of the moment of just being wet and cold and like not paying attention to what it was about. But it was deeply about me. I didn't even know that I was going to pass it going to the ocean. I was going to the ocean and I saw this thing over on my left, and I was like, "Oh man, something is calling me to do this." And here's what it is: you sit in the chair. There's a mirror in front of you, and it's really like, what do you need to let go of? And I explain all that in the video, but I really was in a place where there was so much I was trying to figure out what I was letting go of. What are the things that I'm carrying? What baggage? What old recordings that are happening in my life that are from being a little kid, from being in middle school, from being growing up in Oakland, California? Like, what are the things that I'm carrying and I'm battling? And this is the one. This experience let me talk about it by myself. And when I was sitting there, something just told me to record it. Like I wanted it for the book, right? Because I'm trying to write this book, and the book is hitting walls, boom, boom, boom. Walls that the book is hitting my own walls, the walls of my mind. And even though I have the tools and Otter and I can record my voice and that's what I'm really good at, I still have like found myself getting stuck. And there's more to it than just what do I want to say to the world. And so I think there's still some things that I'm still letting go of, some barriers that I'm letting go of. And so what you're gonna hear in the next few minutes, I mean, it's not very long, but it is a reflection. It's a personal reflection of some painful times in my life. And um, I hope that I use the word enjoy. I hope that you will take solace in that whatever you're going through, I don't know what your story may be, but that you're not alone. And I hope that as we continue to have these conversations with men all over the world, that you will continue having conversations with the people in your life that you love, that you care about, that we're human, that we feel, and maybe we've been taught that we're not allowed to, that it's not okay, that it's not manly, it's not tough, it's not respectful. just recently, I heard somebody had a post, and they were some guy. I don't know who he was, but he said, if you're a man and you have more than 5 real relationships, real friendships, he listed all these things that you were that were just totally the stereotypical things that we tell men. And I told, I replied to one of my friends. I said, this guy needs a friend, because in his mind, he's saying, hey, if you're a man and got 5 good friends, there's something wrong with you. I'm not even sure where the numbers came from and what he was referencing, but he's one of these men who are telling boys, you don't need to have friends. You don't need to have intimate relationships with other men. You don't need to have deep connection. Only you need to be a conqueror of women, on the prowl. And we see it happening all over. And I'm hoping to. I've been reaching out to. Well, I have a plan to reach out to the man, Mr. Tate. Somebody Tate. I don't know all of his full name. I don't want to get it wrong, but I'm going to reach out to him, because I think that I would love to have a conversation about these masks, because we know that we all have them and we wear them. So thank you for this extended intro. It's not really the intro. This is actually part of the show. And I hope that these next 2 videos will speak to your heart. And I hope that if you have somebody in your life who you really care about, that you find time to sit down and have a conversation. Maybe make a mask. Maybe you make a mask first. And if you ever want to do that, you can always go to millionmask.org. Our team is growing. We have a new intern for the podcast. So if you are interested, or you know someone who we should be talking to, please share that with us in the comments, or like send us a message on social media. And we look forward to being a part of this journey with you. Take care, everybody. Thanks for being a part of the Taking Off the Mask podcast. See you soon. So I'm here at this experience here as a part of the Convergence, and this is one of these experience. This is this part here. I'm supposed to climb under there, go sit down there, and look at myself in the mirror there. And part of this experience is letting go of parts of myself that need to die, need to go, need to get rid of. And I imagine so many times in my life I'm trying to figure out, well, how am I going to be who I really want to be? How am I going to have those goals and dreams? How am I going to write that book? How am I going to help more people? How are we going to grow this movement? And it can't happen unless I'm willing to let go of who I was. Because the person who I need to be to achieve all these things can't be the person I am now. Otherwise, I would have already achieved them. And so part of me is making and naming the parts that have to go, that have to be taken away, or destroyed, eliminated, broken down. And it's not going to be easy. Like me getting under there is not easy. Like that's pretty small. Maybe it just caused me to get dirty to get under there. Maybe that's small. Maybe some of the prices I have to pay won't cost financial costs, but maybe they cost emotional costs. Maybe they cost comfort. Maybe they push you up against the edges of what you think you're supposed to do. You ever got stuck doing what you think you're supposed to do and realize that it's so far away? I know I have. So, as I get ready to climb inside here, I'm not really sure how it's going to happen, but I'm going to climb in there, and I'm going to take a seat. I'm going to have a conversation with myself in that mirror right there. There's a mirror right there. There's that mirror that's leaning up against the wall. There's a mirror. Boom. There's a seat right there. And sometimes I need to take a look at myself in the mirror, accept exactly who I am right now on the journey of being who I really want to be. And I'm hoping that you find those places in your life where you can decide what you got to get rid of, what you got to put down, what you got to break away from, what you got to claw out, what you got to bust down. Like, I don't know what the strategy of what getting to that new life is, but you don't get it easy. You don't get it just by hoping it's going to get there. You're going to get it by hard work. And I've been working on this. This is the next part of that hard work. So I'm looking forward to seeing the other side of this. See you soon. Right there. That's where it starts.
Maybe if nothing more than metaphorical, in order to get up here, in order to climb through that little space, I had to take off my jacket. I had to take off some layers in order to get through. How many layers have I been avoiding letting go of? How much baggage, how much old stuff, how much my pockets are full of stuff. How much stuff am I carrying around that don't need to be carried anymore, that need to let go? Maybe the sadness and the neglect and the abuse and the worry and the bad mistakes and maybe all that stuff I need to let go. I'm looking at this image here of this mirror with these bones and teeth and old life that have gone to leave something behind. And deep down, I just really want to leave something behind that's going to be of value to someone. That someone doesn't have to go through all the things that I went through to achieve all their goals, but some of the things we have to go through. I was listening to a talk by Pastor Stephen Furtick the other day, and he talked about Simon Peter, who had to let go of his old life to become who he was meant to be. Both Simon and Peter were in him from the beginning. Sometimes we have to find ways of bringing it forth and calling it forward. And man, there's so many parts inside of me that I think are in here, and sometimes I feel like I hold them back. One man here who was at the last event said, "How's that book coming?" Well, he told it to somebody on the team, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to talk about how the book is not coming. I don't want to be a person who has just got good talk and sounds good, and then it all of a sudden falls flat. That's not who I dream of being. That's not the man I want to be. And so letting go. Letting go what needs to go. Maybe there should be an audio instead of a video. I'm making judgments right now as I look at myself in the mirror. I'm making, oh, you got this gray hair sticking out over here. Oh, you got your mustache is all messed up. You should have shaved. Oh, you got I'm in behind the scenes of my words that are coming out of my mouth is the images of myself. I remember being in middle school when I was like, where internalized racism and blackness had infiltrated my heart. Middle school, like, where I didn't think black was beautiful. Where I hated looking at myself in the mirror. Well, my mom would be like, go brush your teeth. I'm like, I already did. She's like, come here, let me smell your breath. And she would know I didn't brush my teeth. It wasn't that I didn't want to brush my teeth. I didn't want to look in the mirror. I don't know how many people have ever felt like you didn't like what you saw in the mirror. But I know what it feels like. I know it doesn't feel good. Getting addicted to pornography at a young age was always in comparison mode. Always. Never thinking I measured up enough. How would you ever? These are professionals. Just like you wouldn't measure up to a NFL player playing on your middle school football team, you're not going to measure up if you're comparing yourself to the images that they've put out there for you. And I began to always not think I was enough. Why me? Why me? I remember my first physical that I had ever, where the doctor checks you out all over and they grab your balls and they make you cough, and like I was just feeling totally exposed. And the doctor says something like, you're developing well. And I was like 12, 13, I don't know how old you were for your first physical. And I remember like, no, I ain't. You seen the magazines I look at? These guys, they got penises that are like freaking the size of their arm. Look at this little thing. And I would self-judge because I was comparing it against the models that were never supposed to be compared to in the first place. Letting it all go. Leaving it behind. Came to realization this weekend that I took out a lot of my anger on my stepfather, and I passed it down to my little brother. My stepfather was like an asshole to me, and I was an asshole to my little brother. Our relationship is just starting to rebuild. I wasn't very kind a lot. It wasn't his fault. It wasn't his fault at all. I'm ashamed of that. I feel sad by that. I've done lots of dumb, stupid, but based on how my emotions and how my intelligence was at the time, it's not things that I would do again. But I think I've learned. I'm still learning. And so today, as I get ready to descend from this mirror, but descend from this space, I get a chance to just recognize that there's more to me than anybody can see by looking at me. There's more to you than anybody can see by looking at you. And I hope that as you strive to be who you dream of being, you just figure out the parts of yourself that you want to let go of. Giving honor to all the places you've come from and realizing how you made it to today is a combination of journeys. And so, wishing you all the best in this journey of your life. Take care. And remember, the longest distance that most people travel is the 18 inches between their head and their heart. And most of us get stuck in our heads. So this is about connecting to your heart. See you soon.
The Taking Off the Mask podcast is produced by Ryan Louie. Graphics are by Kelly Wong, and a special thanks to the team at Ever Forward, Vanessa Cortez and Choque Allen Alvarez. We'd like to thank everyone who's been a part of the creation of this podcast as we cross the 100th episode milestone and begin the work to the next 100. We hope that everyone who's been a part knows that they're a part of the Taking Off the Mask family. And we look forward to you being a part of it as well. If you like what you heard today, please subscribe, write a 5-star review, and share, as we look forward to continuing to have conversations that matter. Stay tuned for the relaunch of the Million Mask Movement on 11/11/22. That's November 11th of 2022. There's a math problem in there. You can find out more by visiting everforwardclub.org and following us on social media. Take care, and we'll see you soon.